And what has been going on? I've just been in a meeting with JP and Chet, talk about the Met Plus project and how that's going. And yeah, the key thing is we don't really have a dedicated project manager for that project at the moment, and that's a shame. We could really use one. But good meeting. I think good progress there. Before that, there was deep learning, and there was there lunch as well? Well, yes, there was lunch after deep learning, and I continued with a bit of Python code there. That's about the size of it, I guess, since the last Scrum. For me, we've got the local support meeting coming up. Yeah, that's. I'm kind of my main thing is I'm kind of behind on the Anthony Powell Society database. I've got oh gosh, what is it? Office 365, Access 2016, and installed on my PC, and I just got to get more done. There we go. Ben, you were in first. Ben, how are things with you?
Was I? Oh, okay. Yeah. How are things with me? Let's see. I have maybe 3 or 4 things to talk about. Deep learning. I was there too. It was deep. What else? The WikiEdu dashboard. I feel like I might have overstepped a line or something. I was trying to create some test materials to test the internationalization stuff. That it would work with the training modules, and I created one, but I don't have that access on the MetaWiki to create translations to make them translatable. So I requested that Sage help me with that, but he hasn't. And usually he's very responsive, so I don't know if I did the wrong thing. He said I should email him.
Oh yeah,
and which I didn't know what he meant by that. I don't know if I have an email address and why it would be specifically necessary to use SMTP versus any other way of communication, but you know what I mean. But I don't know. So we'll see about that. As soon as I sort of get that, I'll move forward. That's a bit of a block, but I don't know what else to do. I don't want to be more of a thorn in anybody's side. So there's that. Let's see. Website 1. Have I done anything recently? No, not really. Paranauts. I'm trying to get Wallaby working with Whitebread, but it's actually there are some more complications than I expected there would be. With that, I can't. It's hard for me to. I think the idea is that Wallaby. I have to change the Wallaby configuration, and create an acceptance test module that can be used. That's different from the other ones, but I don't know. I'm going to do a little bit more of that and then try to push it up. There's one other thing I think, but I can't remember what it was. Oh yeah, the auto grader thing. I've decided to at least try to trudge into the field where so many have fallen.
Oh, okay.
I may be the latest of those, but I'm trying to learn about what is the edX queue thing. Because that's kind of the meat of it. That's what does all the work, right?
Well, that's kind of yeah. Well, maybe we'll talk about that at the end of the Scrum.
Okay.
Yeah,
but it's certainly worth learning about if I want to make any substantive contribution.
Yeah, certainly knowing how that all fits together. Yeah, good stuff. Good report, Ben. We'll kind of circle around to some of those things at the end. Nicola, how are things going with you?
Fine. I did the merge with develop of the branch that I was working on local support. I did a deploy of the changes until what Stamatios did. So I have to check in a station how things are working. And I've been working a little bit on the SHF project, and I have to check on website 1 with Pervin was. I don't remember the name of the user, but yeah, I have to check with him because I answered to pair with him. So we'll see.
Yep.
And I have no blockers.
All right. Good stuff. Michael, how about you?
I just went to the deep learning mob earlier and been doing anything particularly since then related to AV. But I was thinking about design sprints because you've been posting a lot of reblogs on them.
Oh yeah.
and was wondering if you were doing any of them again, or because I know you had done them privately for contracts and stuff, but it seems like that was something that we kind of did in the summer and then it kind of went away.
Well, I can certainly talk to that. I mean, I've actually got the meeting that I was in this morning. I was being asked to cost up another design sprint for someone, and we've done a costing for a design sprint for the My Noteboat paid React project. So there may be
French
for the French
sailing thing.
Yeah. So there may be design sprints in the air.
Is that being looked at as like just Agile Ventures would do just the design sprint, or
I think
do a design sprint and then potentially the contract
and the development.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the whole thing.
Yeah, and I'm sort of pitching it as
administrating it afterwards too.
Yeah.
So just everything. Kinda.
Yeah. I mean, maybe I'm completely crazy, but it's sort of I feel like, you know, it needs to be like this idea of like completing one thing and then throwing it over the wall and then throwing it over the wall kind of thing. It is, you know, a way to produce chaos. I don't know. I've always been like I want to know how everything works, and that's maybe going to be my downfall ultimately. But yes, I mean, I think in principle the My Noteboat people would have been happy for us to like dive straight into development. But I was trying to say like let's get it clear exactly what it is that's going to be developed with some prototypes first before we move beyond that. I still would like to take lessons that we learned from the AV sprint last year and get them into production. I think what we have there is just a shortage of development resources on website one. Really, go on.
For that design sprint, say if they accept it, are you thinking about like physically you going to France?
No, I'm imagining that it would be online.
Okay.
But that's to be negotiated.
Okay.
So
and potentially other AV people could take part in that.
Indeed, absolutely. Yeah, so that's
want to go to France.
But yeah, I mean, if they're willing to pay for, I think they have a budget.
If they'll pay for me to go to France, I'll go. I guess.
I mean, I think that they have a budget, but it's not an unlimited budget. So I think, yeah, I think we'll probably be doing.
I could take I mean, I know France. Depends where they're in France, but I know it's expensive to stay there. But
well, it depends on the place. You could fly freight or something. I don't know. Like
I could probably
container ship. Take a while.
No, I'm thinking, what's that site? What's that site that everybody uses now? That's like where you can rent a house.
Oh, Airbnb.
Airbnb. I can live in an Airbnb.
Oh yeah, definitely. That's the way to get those. So we've got to be careful though. I mean, I don't
need a Metropolis hotel or something.
No, I was careful. Airbnb. I don't know. We've had very good experiences with Airbnb in the UK, and doing it in Europe, we've had some issues. Anyway, let's go. That's our Scrum. Let's go back round to some of the things there. Yeah, we had. Oh well, one thing, Nicola, I'll say about Praveen on website one.
Yep.
Now booked a pairing session with me for the week after next. I'd been saying to him for a long time, let's pair on this to move you forward. I think he hadn't necessarily been clear on like how to book a pair session with me. I think a failure on my side was to like, I don't know if he now thinks, oh, because he's going to pair with me, he doesn't need to pair with you. But if you can pair with him and get some stuff done, then that would be outstanding. But don't, you know, it's all good there. Yeah.
You say that I should start a new pull request?
Yeah, I that all depends on where he's up to. I mean, I would say if you're looking for things on website one, just, you know, that medium Mercury switchover that's blocking the Rails 5 would be the most valuable service you can do to the whole community right now.
Okay, cool.
Speaking of pairing on website one, this is kind of germane because I had planned on doing that pairing session with Aaron this week.
Right.
I put it on my schedule about the karma issue he was working on.
Right.
And he's just been at least from where I'm sitting, completely incommunicado. I pinged him and has he been around?
Yeah, well he I think like Praveen, as regards Nicola, Aaron's been in touch with me on the private channel that I have for premium members, and then and he was trying to arrange a pairing session with me, and ultimately we couldn't get one together. And I'm not around next week, and so we've pushed it off to the week after. But we do have a bit of a. There seems to be a sort of a bit of a repeating problem with some people where you kind of start having this conversation about what have you, and then it just kind of completely dies. And I don't know if it's like, is this people's level of awareness to relate back to the issue that you mentioned of Sage and email versus Slack. I think people like personally, I'm kind of plugged into Slack, and by using Slack, you can like fire bits, things directly into my brain. Whereas I think other people's relationships with Slack and the extent to which they're aware of a message having been sent is really variable. Do you know what I mean, Ben?
I do, yeah. But I mean, it surprised me with Sage though, because he's usually sort of very responsive and stuff. So I don't know what he's got going on.
Yeah, well, I would absolutely lean there with Sage to people have got stuff going on, and probably I think it's fantastic how sensitive you are to not wanting to ruffle feathers and so on. It's probably got more to do with what's happening with him than it has your community, I would imagine.
Yeah, I'm not that concerned. I did want to bring it up though, in case there was any wisdom that could be offered. So I think that there's this notion. I guess I just getting radio silence from Aaron. I mean, it's certainly less efficient to work with me, given my relatively lower level of experience with all this stuff compared to you. But at the same time, it's sort of I think it serves better the mission of community learning to get more different pairing combinations. But if people see a better option, then they're probably just going to hold out for that.
Yeah, so I don't know. It's interesting. I mean, I think in some ways, though, sometimes my level or whatever is a handicap. I think the fact that you're both approaching, as relative newcomers to the code base can actually be extremely, extremely valuable. I mean, I think it's a thing that we struggle with. There are certain people who, if they say that they're going to do something, and then it turns out that they're not going to be able to do it, they tell you. I'm amazed that some people are kind of 2 days in advance to say, "I'm sorry, actually, I can't do that thing." They really front load the information. There's other people who kind of, when things crop up in their life that means that they can't do things, they just don't communicate at all, and it's one of the biggest drags in the efficiency of teamwork. I can hardly cast the first stone about people being in the latter category, since I don't have the top level of integrity with respect to that stuff myself. But you're doing pretty good as far as I'm concerned. You're pretty reliable. I mean, on the scale of things, I think you lean towards the former category rather than the latter. So you're not doing too badly. That's good feedback. Yeah. What about Michael? Go on, Michael.
What about me? Where do I?
You're pretty good. Yeah.
Ace is in my book.
As is Nicola. I think you're all on the side of. I mean, I think Michael, you're the interesting thing for you is I think you're very careful not to overcommit. And I get the sense when you commit to something, you commit to it, and whereas there's other people who I think will, commit to things just kind of willy-nilly, and then they can't do them, and then they just sort of they either just go radio silence, or they just kind of say no, no, and then it kind of the thing gets pushed off week after week after week after week, and it's yeah.
See, now we might be able to use the blockchain to use the block party idea to sort of
if we could that was
Ethereum Ether there.
Yeah, and Stella also joined us. Sorry not to rope you into the thing there, Stella, because you sort of joined when we'd finished the Scrum. I was, although we've got sidetracked in this discussion, I was trying to lead back towards Ben's outstanding question about the autograders, which I guess we don't really have time for. The edX queues are what the autograders, the Ruby code, talk to in order to get. So student submissions sit on the edX queues. The autograders, the Ruby code, the repo that we have, when it runs in production, it polls the edX queue to get a student submission. It pulls the student submission off the edX queue and then, grades it and then sends a response back. That's conceptually all you need. You don't actually have to like really get involved in the details of that in the first instance. Like it's all kind of handled, if you know what I mean. But
That's a
conceptually,
pretty simple relationship. Getting something from it and then pushing back the results.
yeah. I mean,
Right. So all the meat of it is in the code base for the actual
There's a thing
specific
called
AV
XQ.
stuff.
yeah, they've separated out a gem.
There's a gem called XQ that they called.
That's a Ruby gem that was written by some of the TAs. So anyway, it's time for the local support scrum where I hope we'll see Stella. Good to see you all. See you all soon. Bye for now.
Bye bye.
Bye.